They came seeking a new world, but they vanished without a trace. In the summer of 1590, an English ship anchored off the coast of North Carolina. A man named John White stepped onto Roanoke Island, the site of England's first colony in the New World. But what he found was not the thriving settlement he'd left behind 3 years earlier. The houses were empty, the fort was dismantled, and the 115 men, women, and children, including his own daughter and granddaughter, were gone. Only one word remained, carved deep into a wooden post: CROATOAN. It began with a dream, the dream of empire. In the 1580s, England was desperate to rival Spain's growing colonies in the Americas. Sir Walter Raleigh, a charismatic favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, received permission to claim land across the Atlantic. His goal: to establish Virginia, named in honor of the Virgin Queen herself. The New World promised endless wealth, gold, trade, and land. But beyond the dreams were storms, hunger, and the unknown. In 1585, Raleigh sent an expedition to Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. The explorers built a small fort and made contact with local Native American tribes, the CROATOAN, CROATOAN, and others. At first, things went well, but misunderstandings grew. When supplies ran low, the English clashed violently with the natives. Eventually, the survivors gave up and sailed home. Still, Raleigh refused to abandon his dream. 2 years later, in 1587, he organized another voyage, this time not soldiers, but settlers, entire families. This was to be a permanent English colony, the birth of a new life. In May 1587, 115 settlers, men, women, and children, set sail under the leadership of John White, an artist and mapmaker. They were ordinary people seeking extraordinary hope, farmers, artisans, and dreamers yearning for land and freedom. Among them was White's pregnant daughter, Eleanor Dare, and her husband, Ananias. The settlers were supposed to establish their colony in Chesapeake Bay, farther north, but the ship's pilot refused to take them there. Instead, he left them on Roanoke Island, where the earlier expedition had once stayed. Despite the uneasy start, they rebuilt the old fort and tried to make peace with local tribes. There were tensions, but also small triumphs, like the birth of the first English child born in America, Virginia Dare, granddaughter of John White. Her birth symbolized the future, a new generation born on American soil. But dreams don't feed the hungry. The colony soon faced drought, hostile relations, and dwindling supplies. Crops failed. The natives, wary of the English, refused to trade food. By late summer, starvation loomed. The settlers begged John White to return to England for help. Reluctantly, he agreed, promising to come back quickly with supplies. He never imagined it would take 3 long years. The silent years. When White returned to England, he found his country preparing for war. The Spanish Armada, the greatest fleet in the world, was sailing to invade England. Every ship, including those meant to resupply Roanoke, was seized for national defense. White pleaded, but the war consumed everything. By the time England finally defeated Spain, 3 years had passed. In 1590, White at last secured passage back to Roanoke aboard a private expedition. He was filled with hope, imagining the settlers waiting, perhaps angry but alive. He reached the island in August. The site was eerily silent. The palisade walls stood, but the houses were dismantled, neatly, as if the settlers had taken them apart themselves. There were no bones, no graves, no signs of struggle. And then White saw it, carved into a wooden post at the fort's entrance, CROATOAN. On a nearby tree, the letters CROW, half finished, as if someone had been interrupted. White's heart raced. CROATOAN was the name of a nearby island, home to friendly natives the colonists had once known. Before he left, White had told the settlers, "If you must move, carve the name of your destination. If danger threatens, carve a cross above it." There was no cross. He was sure they'd simply relocated to CROATOAN Island. But before he could search, a storm rose. Fierce winds tore the anchors free. The ship's captain refused to risk wrecking. White begged, but they sailed away. He would never return. The colony that vanished. No one ever saw the Roanoke settlers again. Not a single body, not a single survivor, not even a trace of their possessions was found. The mystery of the lost colony began. Over the next decades, explorers searched the coastline, speaking with native tribes. Some claimed to have seen white people living among the tribes. Others told of fair-haired children or villages where natives spoke English words. In 1607, 20 years after Roanoke, English settlers founded Jamestown in Virginia. Captain John Smith, leader of the new colony, heard rumors from the Chesapeake tribes. Some of the Roanoke people, they said, had been taken captive or had joined the tribes inland. One chief claimed that warriors from another tribe had killed most of them. But there was no proof, only stories. Clues beneath the soil. For centuries, archaeologists have searched for answers. Artifacts have been found across the Carolina coast, fragments of English pottery, tools, and weapons. Some items matched the late 1500s, suggesting the settlers moved south, perhaps integrating with the CROATAN or Hatteras tribes. In 2012, researchers from the British Museum examined one of John White's original maps, the Virginia Pars map, and made a stunning discovery. Beneath a patch of paper, they found a hidden symbol, a small red and blue fort marked inland from Roanoke. The hidden fort, called Site X, might have been the settlers' secret destination, a place of safety away from the coast. Excavations there revealed European artifacts from the correct period. Yet even so, no direct evidence, no carved initials, no graves, no remains, has confirmed their fate. It's as if the colony simply dissolved into the forests of history. Theories and shadows. Over the years, countless theories have tried to explain what happened. Absorption theory, the most accepted theory. The settlers joined nearby tribes like the CROATAN. Intermarriage and cultural blending erased their distinct identity over generations. Massacre theory. Some believe the settlers were attacked by hostile tribes or by the Spanish, who occasionally raided the Carolina coast to eliminate English threats. Starvation or disease. Droughts during the 1580s were among the worst in 800 years, proven by tree ring data. Starvation or disease may have forced survivors to flee inland. Lost at sea. Another possibility is that the colonists attempted to sail back to England in small boats and perished in the Atlantic.
Supernatural theories, and then there are legends, whispers of curses, ghosts, and the word CROATOAN itself. That same word has appeared mysteriously throughout American folklore, found scrawled in places linked to disappearance or death. Edgar Allan Poe allegedly muttered it before his own mysterious passing. Though coincidence, it deepened the myth. The legacy of Virginia Dare. Among the lost was little Virginia Dare, John White's granddaughter, the first English child born in America. To some, she became a symbol of innocence lost. To others, a mythical spirit of the New World. In 19th century legend, Virginia was said to have grown up among the CROATOAN, later transformed into a white doe by a jealous sorcerer, forever roaming the Carolina woods. Hunters claimed to have seen her ghostly figure at twilight, her eyes full of sorrow. Fact or folklore, she represents the fragile line between hope and tragedy that defines the Roanoke story. A mirror to America. Roanoke's disappearance was not just a mystery, it was a mirror. It reflected the fragile beginning of English America, bold dreams shadowed by arrogance, miscommunication, and nature's indifference. It showed how easily a civilization can vanish when it forgets how to listen to the land, to its people, to its limits. Yet out of that failure rose something new. 17 years later, Jamestown succeeded where Roanoke failed. The lessons of Roanoke about supply, diplomacy, and survival guided America's next generation of settlers. And perhaps that was Roanoke's true gift, a silent sacrifice for the birth of a nation. Epilogue: The Whisper in the Pines. Today, Roanoke Island is quiet again. Visitors walk among the reconstructed earthworks, the whisper of the pines echoing off the shallow waters of the Outer Banks. At night, the ocean wind carries strange sounds. Some say the crying of a child, others the faint carving of wood. Beneath the soil, pieces of pottery still turn up, the last traces of those who vanished centuries ago. And if you stand very still and listen closely, you might just hear the one word that has haunted America for over 400 years.